Making sure? All right, sounds good. All right, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to our International Student Online discussion on maintaining self-care. My name is Joey from the International Student Experience team and I'll be your host for today's session. We have very exciting presentations to share with you folks, but before I introduce the agenda and our guest speakers for this session, I would like to first acknowledge that the University of Waterloo is on the lands that are deeply connected to the Indigenous people who have historically lived and who are currently living in this territory. These groups include the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. The University of Waterloo is situated on the Haldimand Tract, the land promised to the Six Nations that includes 10 kilometers on each side of the Grand River. To read more about the history and ongoing negotiations, I will drop a link in the chat function. Just give me one. All right. Moving forward, today's agenda includes some housekeeping rules during and after the session. I will then introduce our first guest, Melinda, who is a representative from Campus Wellness. Melinda will be sharing information about international students and mental health, followed by a Q&A session. After Melinda's presentation, Donna from Athletics and Recreation will be sharing a presentation about maintaining self-care called Move More, Sit Less. Donna's session will also include a Q&A session, so please feel free to ask questions using the chat function during both presentations, respectively. After both presentations are completed, we will kindly ask you to fill out a survey as well as staying for the prize draw, which I will explain more in the next slide. So here are some of the housekeeping items for today. If you have any issues hearing the presenters or seeing the slides, please let us know in the chat box and we will do our best to support you. This session will be recorded and shared on the University of Waterloo's YouTube channel within a week of the live event. You will be able to view the session by visiting the International Student Online Discussion website, where you register for this event. And as mentioned earlier, we will also have some time for you to ask questions to our special guest at the end of their session. Please refrain from using audio to ask questions and use the chat box instead. This will help us keep on track and answer questions in an orderly fashion. We can also answer unanswered questions after the session takes place if we do not get to your questions live. In order to be eligible for the prize, you must participate in the entire duration of the event, as the prize will be drawn at the end of the session. Please review eligibility for the prize from the webpage that I will drop in the chat box. If you do not meet the eligibility requirements, please let us know so that you can be removed from the board. If selected as winner, please send your contact information to us at iac@uwaterloo.ca and we will work with you to pick out and ship your prize to you. A mathematical skill testing question will need to be answered if selected as winner. Finally, a survey link will be shared with you at the end of the session. Please take the time to fill this 5-question survey out and let us know how we did. We would love to hear from you. A reminder that today's session is intended to be a safe and inclusive space for all students. Please be respectful when interacting with one another. Racist language, bullying, harassment, and any other behavior that risks harming other individuals in the space will not be tolerated. Enjoy the session, everyone. Now I'll be passing the mic on to Melinda whenever you are ready.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to share my presentation. For somehow it's not showing up on my screen. I apologize for that.
Melinda, maybe you need to request access because he's recording now. Maybe try that.
Okay, so how do I request access?
It may be an option at the top of your screen. Joey?
Okay.
If not, Joey, you should have...
It's showing up now. Can everyone see the presentation? Thank you for helping out.
Yes, it looks great.
PDF. All right, perfect. Well, my name's Melinda Meng. I am one of the academic advisor working in the science and graduate office. Today, I'm going to introduce you into self-care as well as its relationship to mental health. Okay, so just like physical health, everyone has mental health to care for. So why mental health is important? Because it's the foundation for your emotional well-being and your ability to function in your environment. With positive mental health, you will know what is your current limitation as well as your ability. So if you're currently taking 5 courses, if it's too overwhelming because everything is offered online, then positive mental health will be able to let you know this is too much. Maybe I should make some change. It can also help you to cope with the normal stresses of life, as well as work and study more productively. So we have many health professionals that are available to help us here, including counselors, doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, and nurses. So if you are ever in need for health support, please feel free to reach out to us, okay? All right. So I also want to let you know, many years ago, myself was also an international student. So knowing the culture differences and how this culture difference can impact our mental health is very important. Still, there are many stigmas related to mental health. So in different cultures, people could be referred to as crazy or inadequate if they struggle with mental health problems. Or so people could be afraid of seeking help so that they might be judged by their friends or family. However, is that really true? Probably not, because if we don't seek help, it's very unlikely for us to get well. So the reality is we all need some help sometimes. And that is completely normal because we are human. Humans have emotions, concerns, thoughts, needs, and stress. So mental health professionals can help you to find out the things that you really value and help you to balance those conflicting priorities in your life. And if you struggle with mental health, that's okay because you're not alone. 1 in 5 Canadians will seek help for their mental health in their lifetime. Okay, so we used to categorize our mental health as either well or unwell. Rather, it's always changing along with every other aspects of lives. So this mental health continuum can track our mental health and wellness. So if we look at on this table, it's reacting, injured, and healed. So we can see healthy, we're in the green zone. So when we are healthy, we are able to focus on tasks. We are able to break problems into manageable chunks. We're also be able to maintain healthy lifestyles. So when we are moving along the bar to the more troublesome zones, it could be moving towards the yellow zone, the orange zone, and if we look at the red zone, so when we are experiencing those excessive anxiety, easily enraged or unable to fall asleep, when we're having those symptoms, it could be the right time to take the actions down here, which could be seeking consultation as needed, follow up with your healthcare professionals, and as well as taking some time and some strategy to regain our physical and mental health. So as an international student, it's very possible for you to experience culture shock. So you may be familiar or not familiar with this definition. Culture shock includes the anxiety produced when you move to a completely new environment. You could be either in Canada or in your home country right now. So you may not experience any of those symptoms given the online courses delivery. For people who experience culture shock, you could not know what to do or how to do things because the situation is new. You could be also not know one's normal customs. So for example, now during the online course, you could not know, am I supposed to ask the question by emailing the professor, or am I supposed to use the online discussion board? The answer to that question should be different by each instructor. And if you really want to know, just ask. I'm sure all of your professors and TAs are willing to support you. You may also experience physical and emotional discomfort. So emotional discomfort mental struggles. So if you have shock symptoms, it often sets in after the first few days or weeks after entering a new country. It may also not happen to you at all, or when you are experiencing some other challenges, the culture shock could come back to you. So again, during the culture shock, you could be experiencing those extreme homesickness, desire to avoid social settings, hostility towards the host culture, depression, feeling of helplessness, and other symptoms such as impact to your mood, your emotion, your physical sensation, your sleep, as well as your personality. So the most important thing to remember here, that is completely normal to have those symptoms. And nearly everyone experience culture shock goes through these symptoms. What can help with us to overcome culture shock? So understand culture shock is normal and understandable. We should try to recognize what we're feeling, as well as acknowledging it being a process that we go through. We need to know it's normal to have it instead of seeing ourselves as a failure. Getting involved in the host culture, keep yourself busy, as well as talk to anyone. It could also be someone from your home culture. If they have gone through this, you can also learn their techniques, as well as knowing that if other people could have overcome it, I could too. All right, so I also want to say, please feel free to type in your questions in the chat, and when we can definitely answer those questions when we finish the presentation. All right. Now moving on to the idea of self-care. A lot of people
Hi, Melinda.
may know the detail. Yeah. Yeah.
I froze for a good 10-ish seconds. Do you mind just starting from the beginning of the slide by any chance? Repeating what you said from the repeating what you said from the slide. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So you might already have a good idea of what self-care is, or if you don't know the details of it, so let's look at it. Self-care activities are things that you can do to help yourself to achieve a better life balance. So we always experiencing different priorities during university life. We could be struggling with the conflicting deadlines of each courses. We might have to work on our resumes for applying for a summer job or co-op job. We could be also trying to make social connections to make ourselves well. That's all very important tasks in life. So achieving a balance between all of those tasks can be stressful because your system is in a more optimal state before the high stress time starts. So next we will cover a few tips for self-care, and you might think, I already know those are important, but it's just sometimes difficult to do. So I will go through why taking those tips of strategies are important. Hopefully will help you to motivate to take more of action of taking care of yourself. So number one is regular meal. Eating regularly helps you fuel your body, and then it can gives you the energy you need to stay focused in the commitment of every task. So if you ever feel you're losing the focus, that could be you need a break. You can try to take some nutritious snacks during the break. Try to get 3 nutritious meals a day and pack yourself healthy snacks when you're not at home. When we're stressed, we often use food as a reward or comfort after a long day. But when we are stressed, we're most likely to choose food low in nutrients and high in sugar, salt, and fat. Myself is also a big fan for chips. So this quick burst of energy provides some immediate relief. It can often be followed by an even worse energy slump. So this can lead to a repetitive cycle of quick energy boost followed by a that's why having nutritious snacks are important if you want to continue remain energetic. All right, moving on to the next. All right, another strategy I'm sure we have heard very often is exercise. Why exercise is important? Because exercise has been linked to stress reduction in many studies. You can use the activities that you used to do and which was very helpful for you to relax. You can also try something new. The later part of the presenter, Donna, I'm sure she will introduce you to more of the athletics program that we offer. Self-care, sleep, getting sleep is also very important for you to remain focused and do this. And studies have shown a correlation between getting good sleep and grades. So if you want to know more, there's a pre-recorded seminar on YouTube for you to gain more strategies for sleeping well. All right, another tip is deep breathing and meditation. Deep breathing could be your #1 relaxation technique if you want to remain in the present. If you feel that you're trapped with your dark thoughts, or if you feel really anxious with the thoughts regarding what happened in the past, or you are worried of something that happened in the future, there's another YouTube recording for you to learn more about them. Recent studies have shown that just 10 minutes of meditation a day can lower your anxiety. All right, the idea of resiliency. What is resiliency? Resiliency means bouncing back from difficult experiences or significant sources of stress. Building your resiliency skills can help you. All right, but how to build on your resiliency? Tip #1, self-esteem and coping thoughts. So you may not be familiar with the concept of self-esteem. Self-esteem is your overall opinion of yourself, how you feel about your ability and limitations, and how much you appreciate and like your. So remember your strengths and accomplishments when you're feeling down. You can remember the big things such as being admitted to Waterloo. It's not easy. You must be really happy when you got the offer. It could be also something small like holding the door open for other people.
Sorry, Melinda, to bother you again, but do you mind repeating your sentence again, please? Just
the
froze.
coping thoughts one?
Yeah, it's like 2 seconds ago. Sorry,
yeah,
just froze.
Of course. Yeah, no, I'm so sorry about the internet. Yes, I can. So you can remind yourself that an upsetting situation is temporary. If you're not doing well in your very first test, yourself as a failure, you can simply tell yourself it's an opportunity for you to reflect down with your or TA, or find a tutor, or use the drop-in tutor services on campus to figure out how can you do better. It's just one test, right? Okay, so moving on next. Another tip is give yourself a break. So we are in this really tight schedule, and doing online school is not easy. It could be blur up your schedules between day and night. So giving yourself time to relax is important so that you can stay focused and be more productive. When you take a break, you can do things that you used to enjoy, or but make sure it's something that will engage your brain creativity. So it's not like doing a puzzle. You can be playing a music or singing or gardening. But also remember that taking a break doesn't mean you can procrastinate. Give yourself some time limitation, saying, okay, I'm just going to take a break for 15 minutes and avoid extending that 15 minutes to 3 hours. Positive self-talk. So take a good look of your thoughts and what you tell yourself day to day. Beating yourself up in your mind is not going to help you. If you praise yourself for the accomplishments you have got, that's going to help you reward yourself by thinking, okay, I have, for example, I have used all of this time to stay focused and study, and I can do this again. So avoid cognitive distortion. Sorry about that. So please avoid cognitive distortion such as overgeneralization. When you see a single negative event, do not see it as a never-ending pattern. All right, okay. Some other tips could be setting goals and problem solving. So there's a 6-step plan. Identify the problem as clearly and objectively. Take a moment to understand your problem, and then brainstorm all possible solutions, and then compare those options, like listing all of the pros and cons of each, and then pick the right one. And then after you have chosen a solution, then you can start taking actions on the plan that you have made. Make sure you take measurable and realistic steps by achieving the goal you want to achieve. All right. So let's cover some resources available. I'm sure you might have heard of the counseling services that we offer. Currently, majority of the sessions are being offered virtually. Stress and anxiety are some of the main reasons students visit the mental health professionals, and counseling is completely confidential within the bounds of the law. And on your academic side if you see a counselor. All right, so we have mentioned counseling services also here to help. Student Success Office has wonderful resources online to support students' academic as well as personal well-being. There's also a peer support program called uwaterloo. If you would like to talk about your mental health issues with a peer who might have gone through similar issues. Also, if you want to talk to someone outside of hours, there's a Good to Talk, and then here 20 Good to Talk is for post-secondary students. There's also the Empower Me, which are 24/7. If you search Empower Me, our website, you will be able to find the phone number. Great. Any questions so far? Hello.
Hi.
We can hear you, Melinda. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. Melinda, thank you for your presentation today.
It's my pleasure.
I'm just going to give it a moment for the participants to hopefully throw in some questions. We'll give it a moment. If not, we still have some time for the rest of the session. So if there are any other questions that some of the participants might have, we could always answer them at the end.
Awesome.
Just give it some moment in case people are thinking about some questions. All right, I think we can move on to the next presentation, but if there are any other questions that participants might come up with, we can always answer them at the end of the session. So, Donna, are you? Perfect.
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Perfect.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to share my screen. 1 second. All right, can we see that okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So hello, everyone. My name is Donna, and I'm the Senior Manager of Wellness and Active Living for Athletics and Recreation. I'm going to start by showing you an outdated stat. So pre-pandemic, we knew that students were spending on average 12 hours a day being sedentary. This does not include sleeping, just 12 hours a day, whether it be studying, while riding transportation, sitting in a car, reading, whatever it may be, sitting watching Netflix. And we know that this is too much time. Since the pandemic, I would estimate that this number has increased because we've missed and lost a lot of our transitions. So walking in between classes would be an example. We're also hearing concerns about an increase in screen time because we do so many Teams meetings. Lectures are now online. These are a couple of infographics that I borrowed from our Instagram account with just some tips on reducing screen time. So some work strategies would be break up long periods of sitting with movement or outdoor time, which is essentially what I'm going to talk about for the rest of this presentation. Take one-on-one meetings on the phone and sit away from your work area. Use paper and pen to brainstorm, write notes, etc. Eat lunch away from your workstation. Use a Pomodoro technique if possible, which is the set amount of time for work, set amount of time for break. Typically, it's a 25-minute work, 5-minute break. Do that 3 or 4 times and then take a 15 to 30-minute longer break. And then recreation recommendations. So aim for no more than 3 hours of screen time, recreational screen time per day. You can set limits on your phone with a tracker, create a screen-free bedroom, which really helps with sleep, put screens away during meals, reduce random pickups to randomly check social, don't take your phone to the washroom, and turn off all notifications on recreational apps. Now, today, this presentation is focused mainly around movement because that's what I do, but why? So I truly, truly believe this. Movement can help improve our focus and our academic performance. It increases oxygen flow to your brain and to your neurotransmitters. If you look at the picture on your screen, the brain on the left is after sitting quietly, and the brain on the right is after a 20-minute walk. The idea here is that movement can help prepare your brain to learn or perform, whether that be academically, on co-op, in a job interview. It helps gear you to be ready to go. It also helps reduce stress and anxiety. In our department, we're big advocates that we play a large role in the proactive conversation on mental health and taking care of yourself. Activity also promotes better sleep. Just don't do it too close to bedtime. It stimulates the production of endorphins that boost your mood and make you feel good. And it may have some physical benefits as well, which we've likely heard before. What's stopping you? So this is a very personal question. The number one response that I hear is school and academic load and expectations are so high. I've also heard, I don't work out, I'm in math, or something where how you identify yourself doesn't fit with how you visualize what movement looks like. And it's important here to know that we're not just talking about sports, we're not just talking about working out, we're talking about moving your body in a way that feels good. So actually making it happen. So I realize the irony when I do presentations like this, when we're talking about how we sit all the time, and then I'm having you sit and stare at a screen. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second so I can actually see you. If you would like, I'm going to get you to do a little bit of movement. And if you would like to turn your camera on, I invite you to do so. You do not have to. There's absolutely no judgment, especially if you're in your pajamas already, or you've worn sweat, or if you've worn your pajamas all day long. Totally acceptable. But I am going to get you to move a little bit. And I just want you to notice how you feel right now and reflect on if you're sitting, how you're sitting, maybe how long you've been sitting for today, and how engaged you are at 7:30 p.m. after a long day. And I want you to start to wiggle your toes and circle your ankles and wiggle your fingers and circle your wrists. And you can roll your shoulders back. So there are little movements that we can do even while sitting down in front of our computer that help regain our focus and just spark things a little bit. One of my favorite exercises, so this is called no money. So I'm just gonna come up a little bit. You can stay in your chair. I want you to take imaginary $100 bills and hide them in your armpits. And then when someone asks you where the money is, you're gonna tuck your elbows right into your rib cage. And when someone asks you where the money is, you have no idea, no money. No money. So this is a great one when you're sitting at your screen because no one can know that you're doing it. And when we spend so much time hunched over, it helps just lift our back up. All right, now if you feel so inclined and feel comfortable, our movement's gonna get a little bit more noticeable. Stand up out of your chair or get up off your couch, however you're sitting, stand up. Readjust a few things here. Beautiful, and just give me some arm circles forward. And stopping at the top, circle back. And stopping at the top, see if you can get one to go forward and one to go back. And if you've got it, try the other way. This isn't one of those things that you have to be able to do. Swing your arms side to side. And every now and then throw one behind your back. And if you feel so inclined to pop a hip through once in a while. Nicely done. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to turn on some music because I find that makes everything better for me. Okay, you're going to tap your toe. So you're just going to tap a toe out to the side. You can alternate feet. It doesn't matter what it looks like. The way this is going to work, I'm going to give you a very simple movement and you decide what it looks like. So tap is just tapping your foot wherever you'd like. Yes? Good. Our next move is twist. Twist. Now again, you decide what this looks like. You can make it little, you can make it big. If at any point you start to feel a little self-conscious, I guarantee you everyone else is way more worried about what they look like to notice you. Beautiful. Now our last move is stir the pot. So you're just gonna stir. Now again, you decide how big this is. You decide if you want to incorporate the rest of your body or not. Stir. Beautiful, that's all there is to it. We're gonna go back to tap, tap, tap. Now this time, every time you tap, try to tap in a new spot. You maybe reach out a little bit further. You can cover some ground in front of you. Twist. This is one of those things that the more you put into it, the more fun it can be. Stir. My screen right now looks awesome. Other direction. What happens if you change it up? What happens if you make it smaller and faster? Good, try the other way. All right, I want you to just stretch and take up as much space as you can. So during the day, we hunch over. I want you to be big and unapologetically take up space. And reach your limbs in any weird kind of contortion that you can that just feels good. Beautiful. Now stir. Stir. Now what happens if your legs aren't stuck in one spot and you can turn away from your computer and move around? You can alternate between big and small. You choose your direction. There's no right or wrong. Take your hands up high and take a bow. Give yourselves a hand. Great job. That was amazing. Thank you so much for participating with me. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, hopefully, if it works. There we go. Okay. So the point here, being active doesn't have to be about blocking an hour in your calendar, changing your clothes, finding your shoes, and working out and sweating. Sometimes you can just incorporate movement into your day. So it's not about finding more time. It's being intentional and strategic with the time that you have. To incorporate it into your day, you can schedule transition breaks. So the 5 to 10 minutes between lectures, whatever it is. The Pomodoro technique we talked about. You can also work while you walk. So if you're doing meetings, you can do walking meetings, discussing content with a peer when it's possible. Or even I find the reflections when I'm just walking on my own to rehearse or practice really helps solidify what I actually know and where the gaps are. Main message also, find something that you actually like to do. So if this was not comfortable to you and you did not like it, I am not saying you need to dance. I'm saying find something that speaks to you and then you're more likely to do it. Also, if you find a buddy or someone to just hold you accountable, it can really, really help. And it also helps us make connections right now because we're all so isolated. Warrior Recreation has a ton of things to offer. I'm not going to go into all of the details because we're starting a new term and it's going to change, and we're really hoping that government restrictions are going to lift. We're preparing to go into orange. So the best way to stay up to date is to follow the gowarriorsgo.ca/warrior insider. It's an email list. As soon as things open up and there's new offerings, we send that out. So that's the best way to stay up to date on what there is, but know that we are open on campus. There are a ton of things to do. We do have virtual offerings as well. We also have resources on Instagram at WLUREC. This includes daily workouts that you can do from home, little take care of yourself, self-care tips, and also student takeovers to share their stories of what they're doing. We also have a really awesome program called Move Your Mind, which focuses on the mental health aspect of this. So anyone who wants to get active and wants to get moving and knows the impact that it can have on their mental health but doesn't know where to start, we have volunteer workout buddies. So if you don't know anyone yet, we will connect you with someone and they will do it with you. We will help you find something that you love to do. And it's a peer-to-peer program. So we have a co-op student that makes all the connections and stays in touch. So just check out that website there. The staying connected. So gowarriorsgo.ca is our main website. I acknowledge that it can be very overwhelming. So my email is there. If you're ever unsure where to start or what to do, just fire me an email and I'll help you out. And again, I also recommend the second Instagram post, WLUREC, for any kind of resources and self-care tips. And that, my friends, is all I have. Does anyone have any questions? Oh,
Yes, there are a couple in the chat. So the first one, someone asked, and I'm not sure if you can answer this, but if you could recommend anything for the headaches from eye strain. I'm guessing this is with the looking at screens all the time.
Yeah, so this is not my area of expertise at all. But I would agree that it's likely from staring at screens so much. So one, get your eyes tested and make sure that there's no issues there. Two, any opportunity you can to get away from your screen. Just be very cognizant of when you're looking at your screen when you don't need to be. And get outside, especially as the weather is getting nicer. Take every opportunity you can to just step outside, look around. Actually, again, not my area of expertise, but I have a friend who's an optometrist, and her feedback for young kids was whenever you're staring at a tablet or a screen for 15 minutes, get up and look around. Like, look at the periphery and what's around you, and it helps your eyes not get too sunken in. But again, just tips I've heard, all hearsay. That's the best I can do for right now. Anything else? Oh, Sharice, I can't hear you.
Oh no, I was going so well. It always happens. It must happen before the end of the day. Sorry about that. Someone else is asking what kind of virtual programs you have. And I know you mentioned that with the term changing, there will be some new stuff in the spring.
Yeah, so we have a database of virtual fitness classes that's all accessible free from our website. And there's a variety of classes there, from boot camp, Zumba, yoga is a very popular one. We're actually working on, so they're not released yet, but little brain break videos that are similar to what we just did, the 3 to 7 minute pop it on your screen and move along with it. The idea is not to do the same ones all the time, but just to inspire you and give you ideas that you could use on your own. Not so much related to physical movement, but esports right now is absolutely blowing up. And our teams on this campus are awesome. So if you're looking for ways to connect with other students, you can check out our esports offerings. The community there is very strong. Move Your Mind is also a virtual program. So it's all online support. And we also have health and nutrition webinars, nutritional consultation. So you just put in your information and you get some feedback back. And we were this term doing personal training consultations virtually. I don't know what that's going to look like next term.
Wonderful, thank you. And you said this is all on the Waterloo Warriors website? Yeah. Okay, I will post it in the chat. Anyone else has any other questions? I don't know about you guys, but I am definitely down for a second dance break. Just so.
Anytime. So also, for if you're ever coordinating workshops, team study sessions, whatever it is, like I said, we're working on the brain break videos, but we're also happy to just come in and get people to move. It's a little bit unique. And I said in planning this, we never know how it's going to go depending on the crowd, but I absolutely love doing it. It's my favorite part of my job right now because I need it too. And in this pandemic, I really realized how much I actually need to practice what I preach. So yeah. Any other questions? All right.
All right, thank you, Donna, for your presentation, and especially the dance at the end. And also Melinda with her presentation as well. So I'll be sharing my screen. All right, so if we could take a moment to answer some of our questions through the survey, and we would love to hear what all of you folks thought of today's session. It's a quick survey, 5 questions. It would be amazing to hear some of your thoughts and opinions with our session today.